If you've heard of Furi, you've probably heard it's a boss battler that makes each of its bosses feel like the final boss. Indeed, the first boss feels like the final boss. For those unfamiliar with the genre, killing bosses is all one does in Furi. Thus, the game offers bosses with 4 to 6 stages, rather than 1 or 2. For a game whose only enemies are bosses, there's excellent diversity. Every boss requires a different cocktail of slicing, shooting, and dodging. Some bosses pressure you to rely on the gun, while others pressure you to use the sword. This isn't to say that half of the bosses are sword heavy and half of the bosses are gun heavy. You have to master all facets of gameplay, including the ability to switch among them, in order to succeed. One boss might necessitate 20% shooting, 70% slicing, and 10% dodging. Another may require 90% dodging, 5% slicing, and 5% shooting. If bursts of light signal one to parry, and if all one has to do otherwise is change the ratio of melee combat to projectile combat over the course of several bosses, isn't that predictable? Absolutely. Predictability allows combatants to see attacks preemptively, offering lots of control over the battlefield. Predictability doesn't create imbalance. If whatever video game about killing people is any good, then its bosses are leagues stronger than its protagonist. Predictability is a player's only edge against a well-designed boss, so it brings balance to an otherwise impossible fight, and you'll feel that balance. It maintains the tense competition one would expect from a modern sport. You and the boss take turns being ahead of each other. Specifically, the multiple stage mechanic makes the combat feel like tennis with extra violence. Actually, that's not a bad way to describe the whole game. You won't find any Estus flasks here, by the way. You heal the protagonist either by parrying or by splitting projectiles that contain health orbs. Also, your health bar has notches, so you can memorize quickly how many notches an enemy's attack removes. You barely have to look at your health bar. Far from view, the software crunches whatever numbers need crunching. Getting hit is sloppy. It shakes the controller and slams you into the ground, squandering the split seconds you need to survive. Hitting is your strength. Your parries are crisp. Your thin, bright blade carries every ounce of the protagonist's weight into the boss's tender flesh. This game doesn't need health bars, but you're free to look at them if you want. While each of these bosses has at least 4 stages, the pacing is excellent because you have 3 stages. The boss needs to knock you out 3 times for you to die, and every time you beat one of the enemy's stages, you regain one of any stages you've lost. You may lose a couple stages during a boss, and what's certainly punishing is to die on the final stage of a boss. But during your first playthrough, you probably won't need to reattempt an entire boss unless you're near the end. The narrative's straightforward. Furi is a French New Wave film as a video game. Think Beau Travail. In other words, the narrative's kind of messed up. You play as this guy, Furi, who's ostensibly been minding his own business, and the bosses you need to kill in order to escape this Rube Goldberg machine of a prison try to make you feel guilty about killing them when all you want is your freedom. That's the whole story. There are opportunities between any 2 bosses for you to learn about why Furi is in the prison, but you don't have a clear picture until the end of the game. Literally, you're a guy who's killing bosses in order to free himself. That's it. And if a video game's narrative illustrates a clear purpose, insusceptible to ambiguity, it's compelling. A video game, a good one anyway, is an active experience in which you do something that calls for some purpose. Finally, Furi has great replay value. The unlockable difficulty advances boss behavior instead of giving bosses more health, and a letter ranking system evaluates your performance in terms of time. As a challenging high-score boss battler, Furi encourages you to see how much better you can be at killing the bosses. Both your first playthrough and your playthrough on the unlockable difficulty will take about 5 hours each. Every boss will take from 20 minutes to as long as an hour. You'll perform significantly better after your first 2 playthroughs. Furi is $20 on Steam. Throw in 4 dimes and you'll receive another boss through the One More Fight DLC. Please put Furi on your bucket list, and happy chopping.